We're here with head coach Wes Schroeder. Olentangy Orange Pioneers winning their first ever regional championship and in the Final Four in Division One. They'll take on St. Edward this week in Week 15, the state semifinal. And I appreciate you joining us, Coach. And congrats on advancing to the first ever Final Four in Olentangy Orange history with a 39-7 win over Pick Central. That game was close in the first half. It was 14-7, and then that second half was really dominant. What message did you relay to your guys at halftime, and what went into the execution that you put forth in the second half to really pull away? And
I mean, they threatened though a couple times, and I don't think there's any message. We felt good about where we were. We got that stop early, and then fortunately they snapped it over their head on when they went Wildcat and settled for a longer field goal and pulled it. But and then we drove and scored, and and then we got another stop, but that's when we had that mistake. But the mistake happened for a variety of reasons. But we had that the snap infraction on first down, and yeah, but and then we got that stop right before half. We almost returned that for a touchdown as well. But we went to halftime with a 7-point lead with the ball coming out. We felt pretty good about where we were and what we had going in. So our kids were ready to play, and that was the most important thing.
yeah, absolutely. And Levi had another great game, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns throwing, 2 touchdowns running. But Lucas Fickle, almost 200 yards rushing, and he's been doing that all season. And the offense it's been great the entirety of the season, but maybe what's been more impressive is I don't think the defense has had an off week at all. If the offense isn't putting up 35 plus points, and maybe you score in the 20s, the defense is always doing its thing, and it's holding teams to, I mean, you held Pick Central scoreless. Talk to me about how well the defense has played through 14 weeks.
Yeah, we gave the 21 to Gehanna week 4, but we were up 35-14. They scored one late on that, but it
Yeah.
was. They've been playing pretty consistent. We do give up some yards here and there, but we typically don't get gashed consistently for 4 quarters. And the way our offense is playing, they complement each other really well. We got to the ball on Friday. We got guys down, and they drove that first drive, but we just played next play, and they did a really good job. I've been impressed with those guys all year, but we're constantly trying to get better, and I think they've been doing that these last few weeks for sure.
Now, this is the 4th regional title that you've been a part of. You 2 as an assistant at Liberty. I think it was in 16 and 17, and then you had one with Granville in 2021. But talk to me about this regional run. Is it more difficult than those runs in years past with those other teams that you were a part of? Or, I mean, you guys are undefeated, obviously, but talk to me about the road to get to a regional title. How difficult was it for you and your team to get here?
Yeah, and yeah, so it's always special. It was 16 at Liberty when we were undefeated that year as well, and that was the first time, for me. And it's the Thanksgiving Day practice. Anybody that coaches high school football know it's pretty special. So we did that, and and then we were fortunate enough to go back the following year in 17. And then Liberty won again in 18, but I was at Allen East at that time. Um,
Right.
I got experience in 16, 17, so it's kind of cool. And you kind of once you do it, you're kind of like, oh, this is possible. We can do it. And then Granville in year 2 at Granville, we were undefeated as well, and had that run. We went through some CC. We had through Watterson and DeSales and London and Western Brown, and that was awesome because Granville's never did it before. So they're all unique in their own way, and this one's really special for a lot of reasons. Just you know, um, Orange hasn't had a ton of playoff success. Before we got here, they had 2 playoff wins. I think one in 11 and one in 19. And to win a regional championship in year 2 is pretty cool. And our kids, just because the community is excited, the school is excited. There's just a lot of buzz around here, and people constantly stopping in and out of my room. Awesome job. It's so fun to watch. And um, having 2 of my nephews on the team is really cool. It makes it a unique experience as well. And I just had, I don't know. There's just a lot about this. They're all special in their own way, and um, but you don't take it for granted. But you don't want to get lost in the moment either, because we have a pretty big task on Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. And that task is St. Edward, who has won, I believe, 5 straight regional titles. They've been in this spot a million times before, and this was the team that Olentangy Liberty drew last year in the state semifinal as well. So kind of the same scenario and whatnot. I don't want to say intimidation's the wrong word, but is there a different mental factor in terms of approaching this game, knowing that you're going up against a team that has been here so many times before? They're seasoned, they're championship level football team each and every year, and this is the first time that you've been in that spot with this program at Orange?
We have a ton of respect for Coach Lombardo and their program and what they've accomplished. It's really special. But no, we treat every team. We would treat these guys whether we were playing them or a team that was 0-10 that's never won a game. We're
Right.
just prepare as hard as we can and give it our best. You know, Liberty's familiar. Like, Liberty played them last year, but they also played them in 14 and 19, and so it's not like they're familiar with Olentangy teams. So yeah, look, we feel like we're pretty good too. So we're going to prepare like crazy, and I think we're not we have no intimidation factor whatsoever. We have a lot of confidence, but we also have a lot of respect for what they have done and what they continue to do.
Absolutely. And you can ask Coach Sansbury because the game last year was so cold in Mansfield,
Yeah,
and it's in Mansfield again this year. And I think that game it was like under 20 degrees, but with the wind chill, it felt like 7. And I was just standing on the sidelines, and it was brutal. I couldn't imagine taking a hit in those conditions. It's going to be pretty cold this
yeah.
Friday, and it seems like the Friday after Thanksgiving, I don't know what it is, like the temperature just suddenly drops out of nowhere. But how do you prepare your kids for something like that? Because we really haven't experienced weather like that. You might get some rain here or there or whatever during the season, but as far as being cold, this will be the coldest that it's been all season long. How do you prepare your kids for that?
I mean, we pride ourselves on being tough, mentally and physically, emotionally, everything. And we practiced in the Liberty week this year. The Tuesday practice was brutal, and
That's right. There was a stretch where it was real cold.
it was really cold, and our kids handled it well. We just keep saying it is what you make of it. Like everybody's playing the same thing, we're coaching the same thing, so it's the only thing you can do is just be aware of it and just compete. We did that at practice, and we'll do it again on Friday. We know it's going to be cold, but that's fine. We're okay with that. It's not like there's an unfair advantage because we're both dealing with the same conditions. So I think we just be who we are and practice really hard and get to the game. And once the ball's kicked and you run a couple plays, you don't think about the weather too much.
It only hurts as long as the pain lasts, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's yeah. So, and hopefully we're delivering some of that. So,
sure. Yeah, there you go. Now, Levi, this is his senior season, and
mhm.
he has been unbelievable throughout his entire career. But how vocal has he been in the locker room during this playoff run and really, all season? Because he's a leader on his basketball team. He was a leader on this football team. Talk to me about we know what he can do on the football field, but talk to me about what he is saying to his teammates to not just drag them along, but lift them up. And you guys are, running through this playoff run together as you get ready for St. Edward and hopefully advance to a state championship.
Yeah, he's constantly picking guys up, and even when he makes a mistake, and guys, we know that he's going to respond. Like he's in the locker room and he's talking to everybody, and pregame he'll go through and he'll dap everybody up, and he's grown a ton over these last 2 years, and um, I'm so proud of him and I'm so proud of our team. But we have a group of seniors just like him that they all take turns leading, and when you have a team full of leaders and it's player led and player driven, you get to do special things like this. They're the ones that are, if somebody doesn't show up to something or does something, they're calling them out. And Levi's there. He's the extension of our coaching staff, and the kids respect him and respond to him because he competes hard. He doesn't miss anything. He does things the right way. So, and then when he says something, it matters because he's not doing something and saying something else. Whatever he says, he's doing himself, and our kids respect that and they respond to it. So, and he's really good at football, so I think that helps with
Uh,
the respect factor. So,
that does help a little bit for sure, and could be a finalist for Ohio's Mr. Football. So I know his name has been mentioned as among others as
we
well,
hope
and
so,
he's been terrific. And I'm sure you, being his coach, think that he should be the winner of that award.
yeah. I mean, um, it's hard. You can argue for a lot of guys.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, our guy's pretty special. What we've done here. I mean, not a lot of guys have. We're the only undefeated team left in Division One, so it's the big. We play a pretty tough schedule, and he's got, I don't know, like probably close to counting for 40 some touchdowns, and when he doesn't, he's people have to account for him. So it opens up other things in our pass game and in our run game, and for Lucas and Lucas is a phenomenal player, and it's yeah we feel that he deserves it, and I would be shocked if he's not a finalist. But I don't make those decisions. So
It'd be great though if you compare that finalist or winning the award with a state championship as
I
well.
think I think he and I both agree we'd probably rather have the
Oh yeah, you would rather the latter, of course, but if
yeah
you can get both, why not get both?
yeah that'd be the ultimate goal. Yeah, obviously that's
Sure.
what we want. But
That would be the cherry on top, I suppose. But the goal is a state championship.
no
And
doubt about
Coach,
that.
I appreciate you hopping on and talking ball for 10, 12
Yeah,
minutes, man. And congrats on winning a regional final and getting to the state final four. Good luck against St. Edward, and hopefully you advance to the state championship game. And happy Thanksgiving as well, my friend.
thanks, you too, man. Take care. Good talking to you, Will.